Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Malik Neighbors. Who is better, bro? Well, here who's better. Let's check this out.
In the last several years, we've seen teams make moves for elite receivers to take
both
their
of them are great in their
from
own
middle
right.
Tier, middle of the pack, and elevate
But
them atop
if I had
the
to
NFL.
pick a receiver
Stephon
like
Diggs
between
with
those
Josh
two,
Allen,
definitely
Jamar Chase with
MHJ.
Joe Burrow, AJ Brown for Jalen Hurts.
Malik
Giving
Neighbors
your
is a
quarterback an elite receiver
terrific
can
deep threat.
rapidly accelerate his development, which is why the stakes for this year's rookie class, chock full of potential elite receivers, are sky high for teams drafting early. Enter 6'4", 205-pound Marvin Harrison Jr. and 6', 201 Malik Neighbors. Two incredible prospects with
1,200 yards for Marvin Harrison Jr. last year, or 1,500 for Malik Neighbors. Both of them have 14 touchdowns. Both of them average about 18 yards a catch. Missed tackle. Damn, 34 missed tackles. Oh my gosh, Malik Neighbors. 624 deep yards, 598 for MHJ. Okay.
extremely.
But I wonder why MHJ was like one of the finalists for the Heisman over Malik Neighbors, bro. Like you tell, like, look at the stats, bro.
The board, the safer bet. But
look at the stats. Definitely Malik Neighbors was better this past season.
While
100%.
Neighbors is more raw and more of a projection, while he has elite movement ability. Today we'll dive into their film, starting with Maserati Marv, to analyze his strengths, weaknesses, and best potential fit, and then we'll
shout out
get into
Gus Johnson.
Neighbors. Many believe that Harrison is easily the better prospect, and it's not hard to see why. He's long, he's fast,
the son
he can
of
beat
Marvin
you a
Harrison.
million different ways. He dominates man, he dominates zone, he can beat press coverage, you can move him around and play him off the ball.
You have to double
he is
team
the
that nigga.
perfect breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert receiver. That means he can win early in the route at the line, breakfast, can win in the drive phase as he's getting into his route, lunch, separate at the top of the route for dinner, and then my own personal touch, winning at the catch point, which is the cherry on top, dessert. Kicking it off with
I like how he
breakfast,
explained that.
Duh. He has a deep arsenal of releases that he can change the speed and tempo on at any time. He projects as a typical X receiver, which is the receiver that always aligns on the line of scrimmage, so you need a bigger, more physical receiver who can beat press because corners know you'll be closer, and Harrison uses these releases to beat it, albeit with more finesse to win early in the down. He actually plays like a defensive lineman rushing the passer. The two positions are actually really
I
similar,
like that release.
where he starts with a huge hezzy single release to set Chance Rucker up, but Rucker doesn't budge and holds his inside leverage ready to press him. Harrison uses what, honestly, the Bosa's call side scissors, where when the offensive lineman tries to jam you, you swipe them away. I can't emphasize enough the precision and technique this takes to perfectly attack the wrist or elbow, the weak points in the arm, and Marvelous Marv demonstrates just one way he can counter tight coverage early in the down. Slants are my favorite
And he's
route
got
that he
great
runs
hands.
because of the variety of ways he can win early and then quickly come open. When corners line up a little off the line of scrimmage, Harrison likes to use and quickly come open.
Holy.
When corners line up a little off the line of
my
scrimmage,
gosh, that was
Harrison
an
likes
L
to
throw
use
by
a
Kyle
diamond
McCord, but
release,
look at this
which is a hard
release.
3 steps outside to sell
Look at
up the
this shit.
field, typically used
That's nasty. Is that against Kalen King too?
Watch how he
Oh
sells up
no.
the field, then the moment Kalen King flips his hips to honor
Oh
what he thinks
no.
is the deeper route coming, Harrison breaks back inside. Bad throw. He can also adjust his diamond release, or any of his releases, to attack the defender in front of him based on how the game is playing out. Benjamin Morrison had been playing tighter coverage on him all game, so Harrison hits him with the quicker diamond release, knows that he wasn't going to be able to create that extra separation at the top of the release like he did with King, and makes the tough catch in traffic. There's a lot of finesse to his game, as we've seen on these routes. But as I said, with him projecting as an X receiver on the line, playing at 6'4", he's gonna need to win with lots of power, and he can. He uses a similar release here, but like I said, Morrison wasn't budging much the entire game, so Harrison uses what's basically a club arm over, another pass rusher move. Let's watch the Eagles' Jalen Carter from last year's class use the same move, a classic pass rush move where you're smashing the pad of the lineman, then using your other arm to clear him completely out of the picture. Well, with Harrison, we can see him destroy King with that same club on the arm, swims over him with the arm over, and creates tons and tons of separation. When we look at the lunge phase for Harrison, he likes to use power to win. Against King again, he uses the same Jalen Carter Club arm.
Oh my
move,
gosh, he
where
almost,
he's
bro, he got him off
smashing
balance
his
right
armpit here
already,
to
bro.
deaden that arm. Then watch how he uses his arm over move to create a shield between him and King to create that mid-route separation up the seam. When we then look at the dinner phase,
if the
he's a very
quarterback was
smooth
fucking
operator.
patient, that's a
He can
touchdown
get into
right
his dig
there.
routes really nicely, clean, controlled. You see some college receivers trying to think too much and chopping their feet, which makes them late to their spot. And you know a route is good when the receiver can run a double move off of it that has the cornerback so unbelievably flat, he
gosh,
jumps the
bro.
first route and gets absolutely
That's a
torched.
beautiful throw.
The dessert aspect is his elite ability to high point the ball outside of his frame. If Dinner is creating separation at the top of the route, we need a way to analyze how you catch the ball, and Marv has spectacular catch dialed all the way up to 99 for dessert.
Damn.
The only issues I see with his game are just general inconsistencies. Against Notre Dame, his worst game of the season, he was getting pushed around and bullied, so he was unable to use his hand moves and thusly any of his power. This led to him struggling to create separation in each phase of the route. No breakfast, lunch, or dinner, so no dessert. So when his hand placement is inconsistent, trying to knock defenders off of him, he doesn't really have the power in his slighter 205-pound frame to be able to get him to go away. Believe it or not, Neighbors weighs the same as him, even though he's 4 inches shorter, and you really see his
Left,
strength
right,
despite
let me
his
see,
smaller
do
frame,
it,
because he
do it.
really packs a punch. He is a way different type of receiver than Harrison,
Yeah.
where Marv is more technically refined, more of an X receiver, smoother, at least as an overall prospect. Neighbors is raw, unpolished, and plays every down like he's shot out of a cannon. In the very first game of the season, LSU tried to put him on the ball as an X like Harrison, and he struggled. He doesn't have the harness strength that Harrison has, and he doesn't have the refined technique to be able to win consistently with his hands. His tool bag of releases isn't nearly as deep. Lot of speed releases to get outside of guys' frames and just hope they don't get hands on him. Speed is really his only move at the line, and that needs to be improved over time after he gets drafted. But since LSU didn't have time, they moved him out of the X role on the ball and stuck him in the slot off the ball where he exploded.
Nah, for real,
This
bro.
is the role
This
that
game,
he is supposed to be.
This nigga
It's
was
not
just,
necessarily a bad thing that
he
he
could
can't
not
be
be
an X-receiver.
stopped.
If his next team doesn't ask him to play there, he could easily be the most productive receiver in this class because his movement ability.
Look how fast he
rare.
is, bro.
It's so rare that,
That
once teams
burst
could no
is
longer press him to the line
disgusting.
because he was bumped off the ball. They respected his speed so much that they just completely backed off, and he ate. Not only can he move quicker than anybody, but what differentiates him is his control while doing it. His ability to snap down is, in my opinion, better than Harrison's, where he's able to sell the deep route and then at any moment snap down, which is critical to being a master route runner. If there is
goodness, that
any
was
indication
pretty
you're about to
good.
snap down, the cornerback can just jump your route and intercept the pass. But when elite receivers can pair vertical speed with a clean, tell-free snap down, it makes them brutal to defend. This is one reason why he is so dominant deep. Defenses have to play off of him to respect his speed.
Oh my gosh,
They
that
have to
stutter
respect
and
his snap
go.
down.
Oh
And so he
my
just
gosh.
torches right past
If that
him.
that ball was
Speed,
more
they
on
have to
time out in
respect his
front of him, that's a
snap down.
touchdown.
And so he just torches right past him.
Holy.
You can see him run not really full speed here towards Dekamarian Richardson, who's playing a deep quarter and already has his hips flipped. One thing I love that good receivers do is pretend to start rising up on their double moves. Why? Because that deceives corners by showing what an inexperienced route runner would do, which is to start rising up because they don't have control of their body weight to cleanly snap down. Neighbors fakes a snap down, and look at the footwork he uses while contorting his body to explode into the next phase of the route and create more separation than Madam Web.
Yeah, good luck guarding him, man.
Yes, he
I think
is
a receiver that can
extremely
play both
raw,
in the slot
a
and on
big
the
part of that
outside is the most
LSU's
dangerous
offense.
receiver you can
They
go
run
against,
a
bro.
vertical college offense, which is almost exclusively goes
Bro,
and curls.
like,
It's the best
that throw was great, but the
college
catch was
offense,
great, but
which
the
is
throw
almost
from
exclusively
Daniels
goes
was
and curls.
nasty,
It's
bro.
the best way to get your elite Malik
For him to
Neighbors
be able to
receivers
fit
in
that
space
ball
and
in
just
there.
have Jaden Daniels throw bombs outside and waltz into a Heisman. But the problem is,
Great
this
back
type of
shoulder.
offense doesn't really translate to the NFL, since the league is way more about technique, since there is less space between the hashes and better overall talent, so it is harder to project Neighbors, but with that said, you can still see real translatable football ability on his tape. Mississippi State is showing what looks like man coverage pre-snap, even though this is a safety, and LSU is running 2 curls. To get open against man, Neighbors has to beat Chris Keys back inside despite the fact that Keys has inside leverage, and at the snap it still looks like man with Keys full on eye contact man-to-man right in front of him, but Neighbors feels Richardson dropping into a zone third, knows that means it's zone, so the moment he clears Keys, who then buzzes to the flat, he settles in the soft spot in zone and turns his head to make the catch. This is the kind of route running savviness you want to see from a receiver who played in a rudimentary offense, because real NFL reps on LSU's film is few and far between. Neighbors reminds me a lot of a much smaller A.J. Brown, who has about 25 pounds on him. I want to see a team use him like Titans A.J. Brown, where he's running those quick-hitting drift glance routes over the middle,
oh my gosh,
getting the ball in his hands quickly and horizontally,
oh my gosh, she's gone.
Tear up the field and break
oh
tackles,
my gosh,
which, as we saw, statistically,
you can kiss him goodbye.
More than Harrison.
Oh my
For
gosh,
him, I'm
the burst, bro.
Quickly, where he's running
look
those
at the burst,
glance routes over the middle.
Like, how are you gonna guard this?
Letting him tear up the field and break tackles, which has
and he like, bro, he slowed down.
Letting him tear up the field and break tackles.
Watch him slow down and still be able to get the touchdown.
He does way more than Harrison.
Insane.
For him, I'm hoping he goes to the Cardinals at 4 and they put him in the DeAndre Hopkins role. I've done a few videos on Kyler and the Cards offense in the past where they loved putting Nuke outside.
The Cardinals don't have a good wide receiver now,
and just let him work against the man in front of him where he'd win every single time.
Then they still got
can't
Greg
really
Dortch.
see over the middle,
Remember,
so
they also traded Rondell Moore too.
So play to his strengths if he really is your guy, and give him that outside dominant threat he can target over.
This is a deep wide receiver
when it comes to
class.
comparing these two
They
receivers,
could definitely
Harrison
find
is the slam
replacements
dunk,
easily.
safe bet, perennial Pro Bowl
MHJ,
receiver. But I lean a little
possibly
towards
like
Neighbors,
Ricky Pearsall in the second
raw,
round,
riskier, but
something
has
like that.
unbelievable movement ability and freakiness that I don't quite see with anybody else in this class. Both of these guys are leading a stacked draft class in the 2024 NFL Draft, and the moment they both get in the league, no matter what, they will dominate.
Hey man, that was a great video. Who y'all think is better, bro? And honestly, overall, I think MHJ is better, but just based off of last season, definitely Malik Neighbors. But we won't know until they enter the league, bro. Won't know, but I like both of them. I like both of them. Both of them are unique and have their both unique skill sets and shit like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you're new, turn on my post notifications to get notified when I drop another banger video. And without further ado, I'm out. Gang.